Evening guys and girls, and welcome to Ange Gaming. Today is going to be my first in a new series that I hope to start called Fireside Chat, and essentially how it's going to work is it's going to be a bit of a podcast style where essentially I'll just be talking about a specific topic at that time that is very relevant, at least to me. And I thought I'd start off with, what does Legion look like? Because we've had a lot of information since Gamescom, we've had BlizzCon, we've learned all about the new things, and I basically wanted to break down what exactly it's going to look like when we go through it, what we are going to experience, what's new, what's the story going to be around, and things like that, and basically the new features and everything, and how we'll experience them, when we'll experience them, and I'm trying to go through it from start to finish in terms of we start off Broken Shore and how we'll end up with obviously raiding at the end and the other little bits of endgame content that they are now putting in for us, which look really cool. So I thought we'd start off with, at the beginning, what is going to happen, and this is going to happen before Legion is even out, and that is the pre-event. And what we'll be seeing there is, firstly, we are going to have the invasion. At Gamescom they spoke about how this is going to be the biggest and most badass Legion invasion to ever come down upon Azeroth, bigger than the War of the Ancients, bigger than anything, and it's going to be really cool, and we are going to see the entire idea and shape of Azeroth is going to be changing. And so, it sounds really cool, but like, what can we kind of hope to expect? What I'm really hoping to expect is something bigger than what we saw for the Wrath of the Lich King pre-event, when they were when you had Stormwind and Orgrimmar under attack by the undead, right in the middle of the battle between Thrall and Garrosh, and that kind of thing. So I'm hoping for something on that kind of scale, where we'll be sitting around in Orgrimmar and they say, okay, things are going to start happening soon, and we go, ooh, cool, what's going to be happening? And then all of a sudden, it's just a gigantic invasion, and they're attacking, not just in Orgrimmar and Stormwind, but in all across Azeroth, because that's the kind of scale that they were talking about going through, especially at Gamescom. And basically, you're running through Ashenvale trying to find something. I don't know why the hell you'd be in Ashenvale. And then all of a sudden, there's demons everywhere and they're attacking you. And that kind of thing, you know, and you're sitting around in Orgrimmar and then they come in and they start attacking. All of a sudden everyone's dying, they're fighting just outside of the gates. You have some raid boss style standing just outside of the gates that you have to all team up and take down. People are spamming Thunder Fury and chat. Just that kind of grand epic feel that I'm hoping that they're going to be bringing into it, which is really, if they do it right, it's going to be great. It really will be great. But what happens then? Is that all that's happening for the pre-event? No, it's not. Apparently we're going to be experiencing the Broken Shore beforehand as well. And the Broken Shore is one of the areas inside of the Broken Isles. And essentially what we're going to go through there is a scenario, a 40-player scenario, but it's the first ever in which we'll be playing alongside the opposing faction, and it'll be 20 Horde and 20 Alliance, each of them fighting on separate sides of the beaches, but however there will be a deep sense of cohesion and the fact that we're working together. They're attacking some kind of big fell cannon on the one side, and we have to take down a supply depot on the other side, kind of thing. And essentially we'll both be working together to be able to push forward and get up there to the Tomb of Sargeras and try and cause the Burning Legion's invasion to come to a halt. And that's going to be the main sort of like focus of what we're going to be doing. And it's going to be really cool, because I really like the idea of the Horde and the Alliance putting aside their differences that have been around since Warcraft 1, Orcs versus Humans. I mean, the animosity between some of these races is just huge. However, then there is the gigantic, ominous threat in the distance, and they decide, alright, we're going to put this on hold, we're going to wait, we're going to take care of this, we're going to take care of this now, and then we'll go back to killing each other for little bits of land and some kind of slut that our ancestors caused ages and ages ago. And that's basically what I really enjoy in sections of the games, especially, I mean, remember the Wrathgate. Just remember the Wrathgate. How could you not have loved the Wrathgate? It was just such a fantastic thing to happen. I remember going through all those quests and going through there, helping out Alex Straza, blah blah blah. Then all of a sudden, okay, they're attacking the Wrathgate. We headed over there, and you had Bolvar coming down the side, and then out of nowhere, Dranosh Saurfang runs down as well, and they team up and they start fighting the undead. I had goosebumps covering me head to toe. It was fantastic. I was loving it. And then, of course, Lich King came out and just killed them all, except for Bolvar, kind of. But that's not the point. The main point is that this kind of scale that we'll be seeing when we go into the Broken Isles and we get onto the Broken Shore is very reminiscent, in my mind, of Warcraft 3, when we ran out, when we had to team up with the elves. The elves teamed up with the orcs as well as the humans. They fought together in the face of Archimonde and all of his minions and whatnot, and it was very much no matter what we have gone through in the past, no matter how much crap we have just fought through and everything, we're now teaming up to fight the real bad guys, which is a very important thing in World of Warcraft, is that the Horde and the Alliance aren't necessarily neither one of them is really the bad guy, except the Horde was kind of baddish when Garrosh was in charge, but we'll skip over that. But it's essentially so that they are both really not so much really good guys, but they aren't bad guys, and they join together to fight the real bad guys, and that's what I just love to see whenever it does happen. So that's the before the expansion will actually drop. But for those people that have pre-purchased the deluxe edition, you will also, before the Legion comes down, you will be able to play the Demon Hunter, the new hero class. And from what I've seen in the alpha, whoa, the Demon Hunter is looking cool. The alpha, even though the questing in that area at the moment is looking incredibly easy, which just irritates me to my very core, at least, you know, the abilities are looking cool. That whole theme of Demon Hunter mobility is just showing so strongly, even with the few abilities that you have when you in the alpha. But it's looking really cool. So what is important about these Demon Hunters especially as a hero class? Well, what first stands out to me is the fact that even once Legion is done, once it's dead, once it's gone, and we moved on to the next expansion and the expansion after that, the Demon Hunters still will remain, and they will. And whenever you play them, you will remember when the Legion was first invading. Then we went through all that stuff, because I still feel like that sometimes when I play with my Death Knight, my main. I love my Death Knights, and I always try, especially with my transmogs, to keep like a very sort of Wrath of the Lich King. I love getting the armors from the Wrath of the Lich King because it was very much in the embodiment of that hero class. However, for other new classes, well, there's only one other new class, which is the Monk. You never really felt that. You never really felt that this is something great, this is something purposeful, that's so fantastic. Nobody was really hyped for it. While it did fit in very well with the whole idea of everything that was behind Mists of Pandaria, it's still, nobody was really excited for it. I definitely wasn't. I think I leveled my monk up till level 8 or 9 maybe, and I just got completely over it because it wasn't as immersive as the other hero class had been. Well, the hero class had been. Obviously monk's not a hero class, but it's just, the whole Demon Hunter just looks like it's going to stand out, and it's going to be such a feature, a huge feature of this expansion, and it's going to carry forward. The monks, they were just kind of a new class. I don't really feel as if they were a great new feature that was introduced in Mists, like Death Knights were in Wrath of the Lich King, where those things would just continue forever. Anyway, I'm dragging on a little bit there. But what also is really cool about the Demon Hunter is the fact that we will be seeing a lot more of Illidan, and we'll be seeing a lot more into his mind. While we did see like a little bit of him here and there, and spoke to him very slightly in Burning Crusade, we never really got to know him. And with the new hero class, Demon Hunters, going to be working close with Illidan, you'll be able to talk to him all the time, you're going to see what kind of person he is, and it's just going to bring a whole bunch more depth to him, which is just fantastic. I'm absolutely loving it, and I'm really seeing a lot of hype out of everyone towards this class, which is just absolutely fantastic to see. So anyway, that's everything that's pre-Legion. But let's talk about what's going to happen once you're done with the invasion, once you're done with the scenario on the Broken Shore and the Legion expansion has started. What are we going to be doing? Well, firstly, we're going to have to go and get our artifacts, which are all, well, actually not all of them. I actually should do a video talking about how some of them are a little bit underwhelming. But for the most part, some of these artifacts are looking absolutely fantastic. And we've been told that each of them is going to have a storyline of its own. You're going to start off, you're going to have to go, if you're, for instance, if you're a Death Knight, you're going to have to go to the Frozen Throne, you're going to talk to Bolvar, the new Lich King, and then you're going to go and get the shards, you're going to create your new artifact weapon, and you're going to go and do some extra little quests with it, and you'll have something that's truly like stands out, and you'll feel that even though you're not just leveling yourself, you're also starting to build up this epic item that's more than epic, it's more than legendary, it's artifact, even though that doesn't sound quite as amazing as legendary. And then after you've gotten your new artifact, you've learned how to wield it, you've taken a look probably for an hour just staring at the different skills that you'll be able to get out of it, you'll then go off and you'll start to form your order hall. Now, when I first heard that order halls were going to be the new feature for Legion, I was a little bit disappointed. I'll get to why I'm not disappointed anymore in a little bit, but what I was really hoping for was guild housing. I think guild housing is definitely something that is needed. I think it would be a great idea, especially if it was something, I know several people in videos have said about maybe having a guild gunship that you fly around in and you can park it wherever you want, and you can go there and hang out with your guild mates while you're waiting for stuff to do. And that's what I was hoping for before they unveiled the whole order halls thing. But now, after looking at the different class changes, after looking at all the things that they are doing, all this emphasis on class, every single spec's getting its own artifact, putting so much effort into these different classes and what they represent, and it's just looking fantastic. And so the order halls are actually fitting in so well with the ideas behind this expansion that I'm actually very happy to have them here, which is going to be really cool. And we're going to have basically it's going to be the follower system 2.0, except not as much as the followers, because the followers, let's face it, do you know the names of your followers? Did you care about them? I did not care about them at all. They were just people with certain skills that I used to get gold. And that was okay, I guess, but it wasn't anything really fantastic about them. Now, instead of followers, we will be getting champions. And the way that they described champions was a lot more of a sort of Knights of the Round Table kind of thing. So if you could imagine for just an instant that your character is in the same idea of King Arthur. You're standing there, and instead of this like host of random nameless, faceless people that just surround you, you've got your 5 or 6, your chosen, your favorite people on the planet, and those are your champions. And those are the people that are going to be fighting and working for you, each of them with their own background, each of them with their own specific play style. And you'll be able to go out there with them and do certain quests. They'll go out in quests and come back and say, hey, we need to go investigate this stuff because it looks pretty cool. You never know, there might be a reward there. That whole idea is just so much better. You'll go out with these 5 or 6 guys or girls and you will just get to know them. I know that sounds a bit weird, but still, the whole idea of getting to know these people that are going to be these AI that are going to be helping you out, I think it just instills a much better idea than what the follower system brought. It was just the follower system was just so impersonal. However, this champion system is looking like it's completely overhauling that and just putting a lot more life and a lot more flavor into this system. And I really, really, really can't wait. So now you have invaded the Broken Shore, you've gotten your artifacts, you've set up your order hall, you've got your champions. What do you do now? Well, now you need to get to level 110. I know several people were saying like they wish that they just stopped the leveling system and they just brought out a new expansion. However, I like the leveling system. I think that it makes you have to go out there and experience this new area and see a whole bunch of the different storylines that are in play. I think it's a very important thing rather than just raising your item level. To me, it's a lot better. Much better, I should say. So, how is the leveling experience going to work? Well, I'm pretty sure all of you know this. We are going to be heading out from our auto hall, but first we're going to go to take a look at a little bit of a map in our auto hall, and there we'll see the 4 zones: High Mountain, Azuna, etc., etc. I'm not going to try to pronounce the one of them. And we'll say, alright, so where do we want to go? And then you will simply pick it. And the way in which it works, for those of you who don't know, is that these zones are going to scale up around you. Instead of like scaling you down or anything like that, you are going to head out there and you're going to say, alright, so I want to head over to Azuna, I want to see everything that's going on in there. And you will be able to go there with somebody who's level 97 if you're level 92, and you'll both have the same experience, same difficulty, etc. Hopefully it'll be a little bit more difficult than leveling has been so far. And you'll head out there and you'll choose whichever place you want to go, and you'll go to Azuna and you'll finish everything there. And then you'll say, should I go to High Mountain or Stormheim? And then you pick, and then you'll go out and you'll choose whichever one that you want to go to. Eventually you'll complete all 4, and then you'll head into the Suramar zone. But the whole idea of being able to choose which one you want to go to me just stands out really well, especially when it comes to leveling alts, because after leveling now my 5th alt to level 100, I've got to say those zones, doing them in the exact same order, was very, very, very boring. And now I won't just, it's not the whole idea of just, okay, now I've got to go to Frostfire, and then Gorgrond, and then Teledor, and then Spires of freaking Iraq. No, I'll stay there like, I don't feel like doing Frostfire yet, I want to head off to Gorgrond first. That'll be new style of doing it, and you'll be able to choose and pick and everything, and it'll just make it a lot easier for you to level up your alts, in my opinion. And basically the way that the whole scaling zones works is something that we'll come back to in a little bit when we talk about adventure mode. Now, one of the other things that is really cool is that they're putting a lot of effort into the stories within each of these zones. They want to make sure that when you get into High Mountain, you start that quest from start to finish, you're building towards the ending of that. And not only that, the ending of each zone's story will take place in a dungeon. And that to me just sounds really cool. You can travel through the whole zone by yourself, but then you realize, alright, to finish up what I gotta do here, I'm gonna need to team up with some people because there's some hard roads ahead. And you get into your dungeon and you run off and you tackle whatever it is that's ahead of you. And to me that just really, really is a cool idea. And then once you have finished in whichever zone that you were doing to get to level 110, then you'll head into Suramar, which will be the max level zone, which will be out at launch, as they've said, unlike Tanan Jungle. So we'll have our max level zone, but we won't only have that one. We'll have lots of max level zones. Remember how I said that the world will scale around you? Well, that means that when you get to level 110, all the zones will be prepared for level 110. And we'll get into that a little bit more when we talk about adventure mode. But first, before we get to adventure mode, I want to talk about the dungeons. We're going to have 5 level ups and 5 max level dungeons, and of course all of them will be available in heroic mode once you've geared up a little bit. What they've said for dungeons is they really want to have some strong story elements in each of them, because one of the things that I really felt in Warlords of Draenor that was just very disappointing was, well, for one, does anybody know why we were in Bloodmaw Slag Mines? Just for instance, that place. Does anybody know why we were in there? I had no idea why I was in there, other than to get loot. I didn't know what point there was. We were fighting ogres in there. I thought we were supposed to be taking down the Iron Horde, and no idea what we were doing in the dungeon. But that's my point, is that each of the dungeons needs a good story element. They need to have something driving. Why are we in this place? Why are we doing this? Does they have a good reason for us to be here? And they're really working, especially as they said that they're trying to make dungeons relevant again. That's one of the ways in which they're doing it, is they're making strong story elements within each of those. And then the dungeons are going to stay relevant, in their words. So we've got our 5 max level dungeons that we'll now do, now that we've just reached 110 after leveling. And we will now do the 5 max level dungeons. And then we will go and we'll do the heroics once we have a high enough item level. And that's not all we'll be doing. Normally, for at least the last 2 expansions, you've gotten to your level cap, you've run the high level dungeons, then you've run the heroic dungeons, and then you just jump into LFR and you're done. And you'll never touch the dungeons again unless you want some valor. Now the dungeons will not just be useful for valor only. You'll be able to also do the newly done challenge mode. And the challenge mode now is that we are going to be seeing is very much a cross between Mythic Dungeons and the challenge mode, and then they've added in a whole new layer, and that's given it some really, really unique feel to it, and something that we haven't seen before. To be able to do a challenge mode dungeon, you'll have to go out and you'll have to get a keystone. You'll get that keystone, and it will tell you a little bit of details about how you're going to be able to do this challenge mode and what you'll be facing inside. And the keystone will have an appropriate level. We still aren't sure exactly how it's all going to turn out with these keystones, but we will see. And once you've got this keystone, you'll be able to look at the level. You say, okay, it's challenge mode level 7, for instance, and it's got some corresponding difficulty changes to the dungeon. And that's not simply in terms of how quickly you need to finish it. The challenge mode dungeons will have a timer. However, you will not, it's not 3 different timers. You're not trying to get gold. You're simply trying to survive. In terms of, you've got, say, for instance, 20 minutes to finish this dungeon, and it's no gold, no silver, no bronze. You simply have to tackle the new problems that this dungeon is now presenting. For instance, there could be a frenzy or an enrage new style to the dungeon. And what that means is that every single mob that you fight inside of there will become enraged at 30% health. What does this mean? It means it's going to do double damage. So how will this change your playstyle? Well, for one thing, you're definitely going to need to start CCing. You're going to have to pick off maybe 2 at a time and quickly get them down and hope that they don't kill you, because if you pull that entire pack of 5 mobs, it's KO, lights out, GG. So other than that, they also have lots of different ones that they're going to be inputting, and several, I can't remember exactly who it was that said that they wanted to carry on introducing new styles for the challenge mode, new different like threats throughout the expansion. I really, really hope that they stay true to that. I'm looking forward to hundreds of different types of dungeon variables that could come up in these challenge modes. And these challenge modes will drop a much higher item level gear than the heroics. In my mind, I'm hoping for something kind of between at the height of challenge mode. I'm guessing somewhere between normal and heroic raid item levels. That's where I think it should sit. Not get quite up there in terms of raiding, but still be a decent in-game progression system for those people that don't enjoy raiding. I don't know why you don't enjoy raiding, but anyway, there you have it. And there's a couple other styles of encounter variables that they're going to be introducing into the challenge modes. For instance, all the bodies that of people that you've just killed inside of the dungeon, after 3 or 4 seconds they will explode. So you'll have to be watching your feet. You'll have to be jumping all around and making sure that everything that you're not getting hundreds of points of AoE damage from the explosions. And that's really sounds like such a cool little feature. And if they all stay in that sort of vein and that sort of idea, it's just gonna sound. It just seems like so very cool. Maybe in the comments below, leave what kind of weird little tinkering would you like to see inside of these challenge mode dungeons? What kind of weird mechanic would you like to see? for instance, would you like to see periodic damage done to the entire raid so that your healer has to be kept on his toes the entire time? Anyway, other than dungeons, what else can you do at level 110? Well, there's adventure mode. Remember how I mentioned that earlier? Well, adventure mode is very, very simple. Well, if you've played Diablo 3, it's very easy to explain. Essentially, inside of your order hall, you'll have your map. Remember your map from where you were choosing which zones to level in? You'll now go into there and it will have hundreds of other little quests for you to do. And you can basically pick whichever one you want to do. And there is no more of you go there and there's 2 Apexa zones for you to go to. No. You'll be able to see a whole bunch of different quest objectives that will be changing like every couple of hours for some of them. Some of them will be changing. For more rare ones, they'll stick around for a week and then vanish for several months. And each of them will have its own reward. Some of them will have a gold reward, some of them will have an extra bonus reputation reward, some of them will have artifact power reward to boost up your weapon. And you'll be able to choose which ones you want to go to, and you'll finish those off. And essentially, it's just a whole bunch of extra content that they're just throwing at you and saying, well, you wanted more content, we've got a whole bunch of stuff here for you to do. It's got lots of different rewards depending on what you want. This one comes up every once and again, it's got a mount attached to it. This one has a pet, etc, etc. And you can just run out and you can do that. You can boost up your artifacts power and things like that, which is really cool. And then tied to that, you're also going to have several people who will just be sitting around in your garrison. They'll come and then they'll go, and essentially you'll go into your garrison and there'll be somebody from the Nightborn elves who aren't approving of the Nightborn that have joined the Legion, and they will say, well, you do the adventure mode quests in this area and we'll give you a nice little reputation bonus as well, and then you can build up your reputation and get extra things from them. So it's definitely a much it won't feel like a reputation grind, really. It'll be a much more sort of like, okay, I can get reputation with these people a little bit more today, and I can choose how I want to do it. I can go off and do this specific quest and this specific quest, but not that one because that looks boring as hell and I don't care about pokey bet battles. So it'll be very much a whole idea of your choice, and they strong themes of that throughout the whole expansion so far is you choose where you want to go and what you want to do, which is such a cool feature and something that is desperately needed. So after that, you've done your adventure modes. You'll never be done with your adventure modes by the way that they're describing it. You've always got to get your artifact power up, etc, etc. What then? Well, you can do one of 2 things other than that, and the rest of that stuff, trust me, it's going to, by the looks of things, it is going to keep you busy for a while. Other than that, you can do raiding or you can get into your PvP. There will also, in the adventure mode, be PvP quest objectives that will give you honor, etc, and boost up the new prestige system, etc, etc, which is there's just been a new mount released. I'll leave a link in the comments below of one of the new mounts that's tied to that system, which is looking really bitchin'. I can't wait to spam Warsong Gulch for that. So you'll get this whole new prestige system, which is a new set of talents which are strictly for battlegrounds and arenas, and that will essentially change the way that you'll be playing with your PvP system. And it's something that is looking really unique, and it's definitely something that PvP needs. However, there is, in my mind, something that PvP needs slightly more, possibly a lot more. And that is, of course, new battlegrounds. These ones have been done to death. We haven't had a new one in what feels like over 3 years now. I think that was the Temple of Katmogu. That was the last one we had. It's been terrible. Where's the new battlegrounds? And I was actually a little bit annoyed during BlizzCon with I think it was Tom Chilson, who when somebody asked if are there going to be any new battlegrounds, and they said, well, you take the current battlegrounds with a whole bunch of demon hunters in them, and bam, it's new. There you go. There's a new battleground. That's not a new battleground, Tom. I want a new battleground. I want something new to do. Come on now, get on it. Yes, the system that you're introducing is great. It's going to really change the way we view PvP. However, we're going to be doing that new stuff in the exact same setting, and that is boring. Give us a new area, please. And then if you don't enjoy PvP, what will you be doing? You will be raiding. And they've decided that the raiding system, which was possibly one of the only good things to come out of Warlords of Draenor, because it was really, really well done. You waited your first month after you were gearing up in your different heroic dungeons, and then you got your first tier of raid. Not your first tier, your pre-tier raid, I guess, which was Hamel, which was absolutely fantastic. I really love those open raids. They just have such a cool feeling to them, and also I love being able to mount up and not have to pop a Jeeves to repair myself after 50 damn wipes. But as with Warlords of Draenor, we can expect such cool mechanics, such cool stuff like that. So at the beginning we'll have Emerald Nightmare. So we'll be going into the corrupted Emerald Dream. We're going to be fighting Xavius, and we're going to be fighting some other new, not new, but several other sort of people that have been corrupted. For instance, spoiler alert, we are going to be fighting a corrupted Cenarius, which is looking really, really cool. He looks damn badass, and they got a whole bunch of. We're going to be fighting a corrupted Green Dragon. It's looking really, really bitchin'. I can't wait to get inside of there. And once we've done the Emerald Nightmare, after about a month or two, they will open up for the Blackrock Foundry version of Legion, which is Suramar City. What I'm most excited for in Suramar City is finally the chance to kick Gul'dan's face in, as I'm sure several others of you. And what we must appreciate about Worlds of Draenor was those raids. Those raids were just done so well. All the mechanics were so well thought out. Each fight felt so different. It just really, really was very, very memorable to me. The Archimonde fight, wow, that is possibly one of my favorite fights of any raid boss, besides possibly Kael'thas and the Lich King himself. It was just such a fantastic raid, and they really, really did well to convey all of that. It was absolutely fantastic. And so yeah, for Suramar City, Suramar City and Emerald Nightmare. I should actually say the most fantastic news about either of these two raids is that there aren't going to be any orcs. For one, I mean, I love orcs. My main is an orc, and I am so tired of seeing orcs. Oh my word, it's just been all over the place. They just were everywhere for the last 2 expansions, and finally, we are not going to be seeing them anymore. We're going to have the Emerald Nightmare, which is going to be very sort of green aspect, and I think from the looks of some of the maps, I did a map breakdown, and the area around where the Emerald Dream's sort of entrance is, it looks very corrupted, but it seems to be, to me at least, to be, from the look of the map, to be a kind of old god corruption, which is really, really cool. We haven't fought the old gods in a little while, not since the Cataclysm, really. Did we kind of fight any old gods? So that was really... Oh, actually, no, wait. I've completely forgotten about the Shah. But I don't really like to think of them as old gods. Those were just bad emotions that probably should have been kept inside of Inside Out. But anyway, so we have Emerald Nightmare and Suramar City. Emerald Nightmare is going to be so very sort of green, corrupted, green aspects. We'll probably see Azera in there. And then we get to Suramar City, which is the home of the Nightborn Elves. So we're going to be seeing a lot of this Nightborn Elvish influence, which to me just sounds fantastic. We haven't really done any proper Night Elf kind of raids or dungeons or anything since, as far back as I can remember. The last one we did was in Cataclysm during the Well of Eternity. That was a very Night Elf based dungeon. And so it's really cool to be able to see these Nightborn, which are essentially Night Elves, just slightly changed. And we'll be able to see them in their own environments, and we're going to be seeing a completely new aesthetic for the raids, which is just absolutely fantastic. and I cannot wait to... once again, I'll just say it. I am looking forward to killing Gul'dan. What I also want to talk about is what will we see going forward with Legion after 7.0? What could be waiting down the road for us? What I'm firstly, most importantly hoping for is more than simply one patch afterwards, as we had with Warlords of Draenor. Yes, only one patch. Don't tell me that 6.1 was a proper patch, because everybody knows you'll be lying. So I'm hoping that we'll see 7.0 hit the ground, we'll be able to get through all of that kind of stuff that we've just been discussing, and then we hopefully get a 7.1, which would either introduce, in my mind, a new quest to go on, a very long quest, something in the vein of the Dominance Offensive of Mr. Pandaria, because I really enjoyed that whole section, but maybe with a little bit more in depth and a little bit more of a structure to it, and something more along those lines, and maybe a little bit longer. And so we'll be able to go off and do that, as well as the other little features that they'll obviously put into a point something patch. Then we could possibly get 7.2, and we'll get a new raid hopefully. And I've been doing some thinking as to where this new raid could be, what could it involve. Generally, when we do a new raid, it tends to step back a little bit from the general type of raids that they were doing and into something different. Now, obviously, like for instance in Mr. Pandaria, our mid-raid was the Throne of Thunder, which was quite different to some of the other raids that we had seen so far in Mr. Pandaria, with the exception of Mogashan Vaults, which was very small, and after a while nobody really did it anymore. So I'm really hoping for something. So we'll definitely be seeing something slightly different, and what I'm thinking of most likely is a Naga-based raid. I think would be really cool. Maybe we'll eventually be able to get to the Abyssal, was it the Abyssal Maw, the raid that never happened back in Cataclysm, which everybody was really looking forward to, and then they scrapped. So maybe we'll be able to go in there and finish that off and see what was going on in there. Maybe see Neptulon again and find out if he's still alive, what's happened to him since he was taken by Ozumat, and what's everything that happened down there. So that's what I'm kind of hoping for. And seeing as we are seeing a lot, we are going to be seeing bits of Naga influence from Queen Azshara coming in. I'm really hoping for that to happen, and maybe that will be able to lead to the next expansion, in which we would hopefully fight against Azshara. And I'm still holding out for that Dark Below raid, in which case we would or not Dark Below raid, Dark Below expansion, in which case we'd fight against Azshara and all that good stuff, and lots of Naga influence. And then obviously we'd have 7.3, and in 7.3 I'm really hoping for something quest-like, and maybe introducing some new dungeons to add to the current dungeon pool. I think that would be really cool. Get some more some fresh dungeons in there, because while with the new challenge mode dungeons, even though they're going to be adding new different types of mechanics, it still will be running through the exact same place. So hopefully after a little while they won't be scared to put in some new dungeons. They'll have a little bit more story to them, possibly with an actual quest line that works around those dungeons. I think that would be a really nice way to go. And then of course 7.4. Now for 7.4 I'm really hoping for a very much Legion themed raid, possibly with a little bit of Naga influence and a little bit of Nightborn influence, and maybe just throwing all of them into the pot and making a proper raid tier that has a lot of other things that could happen in it, if you understand what I'm trying to say, which has a lot of different themes in it. You know, if we go through the first section, which is very Naga related, and then we go to the next section, which is a very Night Elf, and then we get into the Legion section, where because if we don't actually end up in the last raid fighting the Burning Legion, I'm going to be very, very pissed off. And with Warlords of Draenor, we had the Iron Horde that were building up. We're going to attack the Iron Horde, we're going to have to destroy them, and then in the end we were fighting the Fell Horde, which was, it just didn't feel right. It didn't feel like a good, you know, because in Wrath of the Lich King, for instance, we knew we were getting forward to fighting the Lich King. That's what was the theme was. We knew we were looking forward to that, and that would have been really cool. So, for instance, for Hellfire Citadel, while it is an amazing raid, it just kind of felt disjointed from the first part of the story. So I'm really hoping that we'll get in there. And then I've been giving some thought into who the final raid boss will be of Legion. And obviously, put down your own opinions in the comments below. Who do you think is going to be there? But for me, I'm really leaning towards one of two things or people. Firstly, Kill Jaden, fully out of the Sunwell. Kill Jaden, fully at power, truly menacing, standing up there, gigantic and red, and bearing down on us, and we're going to have to find a way to kill him. And what I'm hoping for is to kill him inside of the Twisting Nether, so that he's dead and properly gone, and we actually feel like we're getting rid of some of these people, because they're all just coming back. I mean, Archimond was dead, and then we had to kill him again, but even then it wasn't in the Twisting Nether. So now I'd really like this to actually get one in the win column properly, so we get him and he's out of the way and we don't have to deal with that person anymore. And I think this would be the perfect time to get rid of Kill Jaden. We fought him before, let's fight him in earnest and get rid of him. The other one that I've been thinking of is the avatar of Sargeras, because I think we should have some kind of a glimpse at, we've never seen him in game. Sargeras, we've never seen him. We've seen pictures of him, we've read about what he looks like in, for instance, the War of the Ancients novel, and I think it would be really cool to actually see him standing there in his avatar, in all of in some of his glory in that case, and we can kick his ass and just take him down and actually therefore destroy the avatar of Sargeras and realize that we have to still kill Sargeras later down the line. However, it will put into a bit of an influence of, this is the main threat, this is the big bad of the World of Warcraft universe, and we need to get rid of him. Also, I just remembered what could possibly also be a mid expansion raid is possibly something with a lot of Old God influence. So I've actually decided maybe instead of hoping for a Naga raid, a Naga Old God raid I think would work really well, but that's just my opinion. Leave your own opinion in the comments below as to who you think is going to be the final boss, and what do you think the mid raid should be. So that's what Legion is looking like at the moment. Of course, they have hinted that there will be other features that they want to bring in. Can't obviously speculate about them because, well, we haven't heard much about them. But so far I am very, very excited. I'm trying quite hard not to get hyped up about this. I know it doesn't sound like it, but I'm really trying not to get hyped up about Legion after the abysmal sense of Warlords of Draenor, but I can't help but just get excited about it. All of these new features, they just sound so cool, they sound so revitalizing, they sound like they could really, really save World of Warcraft and everything that it stands for, and I just can't wait. I'm really, really excited for when the beta comes out so I can get in there and do all of that stuff and test these out. And of course, when that happens, I'll be putting out more videos explaining what I think about all the new features and how they're working out. But that's it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed the video, please rate it thumbs up. If you enjoy all my videos, please subscribe, and I'll catch you next time. Thanks so much for watching.